मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणी भगवती अष्टादशाध्यायिनी अम्ब त्वामनुसन्ततामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणी. It is like a spider. A spider has certain knowledge. It is evident from the fact.
Yeah, basically this Abhinna Nimitta Upadana Karanam he is explaining. Like a spider, no? From its own mouth only the web comes. Whenever it wants, it withdraws. So that analogy they are using, that imagery, yeah.
A spider has certain knowledge, which is evident from the fact that he chooses an appropriate place to build his intricate web. He selects a corner, not any other place, then to a particular corner which is relatively safe, not another. And then the web he builds is a marvel in designing. All of this indicates intelligence and tremendous skill or power. Therefore, the spider is the efficient cause of the web. But then where did he get the material for the web? When a bird wants to build a nest, you should see how he flies about picking up one straw after another, placing each one very intelligently and beautifully to build up the nest. Certain types of straw are used for outside and the entirely different soft ones for the inside. All the materials are collected and wonderfully fashioned into a nest, but the spider does not need to run around like this, gathering material to create its web. It spins out all the material it needs from a gland in its own mouth. Therefore, what is the material cost for the spider's web? The spider, from this point of view of the conscious being, sufficiently equipped with knowledge and skill, etc., it is a nimitta karma. From the standpoint of the upadhi, because of which it is called a spider, it becomes the material cause. Now, what is Ishvara? Ishvara is pure consciousness, as the spider is essentially, but the same Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, which itself is dependent upon that Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, becomes omniscient, Sarvajna, and all powerful Sarva Shaktiman. Only from the standpoint of consciousness, conditioned by Maya, do we call Ishvara the Nimitta Karma. If we look at the same Ishvara from the standpoint of the Maya Upadhi, which forms the material for this creation, because of which he gains the name Ishvara, he becomes the material cause, Upadana Karana, of the creation.
See, when we say Sarvajna, the Sarvam is only an appearance. With reference to the appearance, Ishvara has got Ishvaratvam. Whereas its Swarupa is the same. There is no, Sarva is only an appearance. Only Ishvara is there. The being alone is there. When it reference to the being, the Swarupa of Ishvara and Swarupa, you and me are one and the same. Only the being. Because of the appearance, the Sarva means appearance, Kalpitam. And with reference to that, he's got the order. Even though it is continuously changing, there is a method in the madness. In the sense, changes only in a particular way. A mango seed grows only into a mango tree. Even though pakkathal verkumbu sedi irundalum, the castor grows separately as castor's tree, mango grows as mango tree. So there is even though it's all like it's only an appearance, only the being is the reality of both mango seed as well as the castor seed. But when it expands in a particular order. And that order is called Nimittam. Nimitta Upadana Karana, the order, whatever you call it. But it's all only continuously changing. There is no real, the seed doesn't remain as a seed. Continuously goes into a tree and then falls, then another seed, everything continuously changing. Because unless there is change, there is no Sarvam. Sarvam is not possible without change. That is what that Alata Santi is all about. Continuous movement la dhaan ungalku appearance theriyum. Movement illena you will see only the conscious being. So why is the need for change? World is continuously changing. If we because of the change world appears. Otherwise there is no world. That is a prakriya. Prakriya is there is no world. Because of the changing appearance, it looks like world. That's what it is. Yeah.
Since the creation is from Ishvara, with Ishvara as a material cause, it is not going to be separate from Ishvara. Thus, we see that from the standpoint of the material cause, Upadana Karana, the creation is not separate from Ishvara. The grossified manifest will become the whole physical body.
Grossified manifest world.
Manifest world becomes the whole physical body, Sthulas Upadhi, for Ishvara, whom in this form we call Virat. And the subtle world is a subtle body, Sukshma Upadhi of Ishvara, for whom we now call Hiranyagarbha. The unmanifest Brahman with the Maya Upadhi is Ishvara as Abhyakta, which is not creation as we define it, but the causal condition. We speak of creation only with reference to the subtle and gross manifestations comprising the 5 elements of the elementals. So you can explain this.
Again, the prakriya is 3 type of bodies, no? Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. And adukku corresponding enna subtle, gross and karana sarira. So subtle, gross and karanam. So 3 like that. Explaining it by 3 like that, a model is created by which you can explain the whole creation. Hiranyagarbha is subtle, Virat is gross, and Karana Sarira is Ishvara. Like that. So Ishvara, Hiranyagarbha, Virat. Like individual apporthavarikum, Vishwam, dreamer, Taijasa, and Prajna, fellow sleeper. So 3, everything 3. Sattva, Rajas, Tamas 3. So it's a model by which the whole creation is explained. And it's all very logical, so we feel that it's all correct, this is how. So we generally start like that. We start like that in the sense, this is how we look at the world, we feel it's all real. Because it's all falling in place, it's all explainable. So we think that, there is a reality behind that. But what Shastra finally says, there is only one reality. There is no 3 realities. 3 only is an appearance. It looks like that, but when you scrutinize, vicharam na sahate. When you inquire, all the differences vanish. Only the reality remains. That's what both we have to understand. Reality, understanding is important. At the same time, appreciation of why we call the world as a world. Why all these problems? Why all this dissatisfaction? Everything we should be able to understand through the help of the Shastra so that we can settle account with Ishvara. Listen, we don't have to really feel perturbed. Why it is like this? It is like this. Now, yesterday I had from yesterday onwards, from one of my old, whom I know when I was in Dubai, almost he has put a Zoom call every 1 hour. He is calling from Dubai. Why all these missiles? What are these? What we have all done and all that? I said, there is no answer for all these things. You must be able to. This is how it is. You have to do what you can do and keep going. You cannot get worried about all these things. 1 hour is continuously bombarding me with questions. What the Shastra says, what it is all about, and all that. So there is no, especially in a changing world, people start looking. All the money in the world does not help. He has been there for 30-40 years, a businessman. He's still very worried about the whole thing. What to do? Yeah.
So that is causal is Abhyakta.
Huh?
Causal, the unmanifest Brahma, the causal body is Abhyakta, unmanifest.
Yeah, manifest and unmanifest, and that is Ishvara. But Ishvara Swarupam is Abhyaktat Paratah Paraha. Abhyaktat Paratah Paraha. That is where, if you go and ask that Brahman, you are Abhyaktam and Abhyaktam, it will say, no, I am neither Abhyaktam nor Abhyaktam. That's all your problem. I am Purnam. And that is our Swarupa also. We have to accept ourselves that I am Purnam. This change and when I am sleeping, everything is fine. When I get up in the morning, all the things come back. That is all part of the Vyakta and Avyakta, unmanifest and manifest. The same way, Pralayam, unmanifest. Then creation, manifest. But both Pralayam and creation is only a change. Again changing. Manifest becomes manifest. Parinami upadana karna change. Change means mithya, straight away. Anything which has involved change, whether it is the Ishvara level, Pralayam lenda arambichu vanda kalpam irukattum. Kalpam means what? As I told before. Kalpam means what? Kalpana. So we say the whole yuga is called kalpa. What kalpa? Kalpana. So when that is the situation, we don't have to. But that is the Ishvara. Ishvara is real, like you and me. But Ishvaratvam is mithya. It is part of the whole prakriya. That is how. That is how we have to be very, very clear. We should have very clarity in all these things. Yeah.
The five elemental model is complete because it covers the entire world. It accounts for the physical world, your mind, your senses, everything, and therefore Ishvara alone is in the form of this entire Jagat. From the standpoint of the Upadhi, Ishvara pervades everything. All you have to do is see it as it is. Ishvara did not first create the world and then pervade it. There are not two things here. Can we say that the pot was first created and then came to be pervaded by the clay? That is what the
Vaisheshikas think. Then they say that Asat Karyavada, basically meaning nothing was there. What is a creation? They say. But we don't agree because what was already there as clay, Satkaryavada. So without a material, you cannot create. You can only create name and form. You can call it pot or padam or bottle, whatever you want. You can call it. But the fact remains that the sattvas, whatever was there only has been converted into pot and clay, pot and padam and all that. So it's obvious that from nothing comes. So we can't say Asatlendu undadu just because you created a name. It's all illogical. Yeah.
But the truth is, the creation itself is Ishvara, and without Ishvara, there is no creation here at all.
The devotee invokes the Lord in whose presence everything takes place. Now, what about the devotee who wants to relate to Ishvara? Which Lord he will relate to? The material cause, Upadana Karana, or the efficient cause, Nimitta Karana? To whom do you relate even in your everyday relationships? Suppose you are relating to your father, mother, or a friend. Is it to a physical body that you relate to or to the person? To whom do you relate really? It is always the person. Similarly, a devotee is not relating to the material cause. He always relates to the efficient cause, the Nimitta Karana. That is why there seems to be a separation, and Ishvara is looked at as all knowledge, Sarvajna, while I am of limited knowledge, Alpajna. He is all powerful, Sarva Shaktiman, while I have limited power, I am Alpa Shaktiman. When you offer a prayer to Ishvara, it is only to the Nimitta Karana, not to the Upadana Karana. What do you do to invoke Ishvara, the Nimitta Karana? It is very interesting. Suppose, Swamiji, I am sitting near you, dozing perhaps, and you want to get my attention. You call my name Swamiji and nothing happens. No response. Then what do? You are going to touch any immediately available part in the hope that I will wake up. When you touch, say, my little finger, you expect that not only this part of me is going to wake up, but the whole me. The little finger becomes only a nimitta, a place where you can invoke the whole me. To get the whole me to come, all you have to do is to pull my little finger. But with Bhagavan, it is even easier because Bhagavan never sleeps. He only relaxes. We have some wonderful imagery of Lord Vishnu lying down on the coils of the serpent Adisesha, the original spring mattress. Lord Vishnu is the one who pervades everything, Sarva Vyapaka, and is supposed to keep the creation going. He has to keep the air blowing, the fire hot, and everything as it should be. For each and every small action that you do, the appropriate result has to come, which requires that all the laws must be operating properly. How does Lord Vishnu do this huge job of sustaining the entire world? Even with a million computers, it is impossible, and yet he does it without lifting a single finger, without even batting an eyelid. This is absolute power and is illustrated by showing Lord Vishnu lying on Adisesha, the symbol of all power, Shakti. By his mere presence, everything takes place. This is the one whom you are invoking. When the whole creation is his form, which part should you touch to invoke that Lord? That is why we have varieties of forms of worship. We worship space, Akasha, air, Vayu, fire, Agni, water, Apaha, and even the earth, Prithvi. A so-called inert rock is sustained by Ishvara, like how the inert body is sustained by a conscious being, Chetana Atma. The whole creation which we divide into inert and sentient is all Ishvara, and therefore any particular form becomes a form in which I can invoke that Lord. Not only the creation but also the laws are not separate from the Lord. Not only that, the creation being not separate from Ishvara, all the various laws, known and unknown, are also not separate from Ishvara. Therefore, Bhagavan is, for example, gravitation. If you are able to sit on a chair without flying off into space, it is Bhagavan who is holding you there, and if you slip and fall, it is Bhagavan who brings you down. It is all law. Nothing happens without any reason. That is why you can study events and predict such things as the velocity that a body of a given weight will have when a given force is applied to it under other given conditions. This is what we call Bhagavan's law. But what do we mean by that? We use such expressions as Bhagavan's law commonly, but when we use a possessive case for the Lord, in our understanding, Ishvara can be a person who created an order because of which we get certain results. No, this is not how it is. From the standpoint of efficient cause, nimitta karana, we say Ishvara's order, but the order itself is Ishvara. Not just certain things, but also every invisible law whose result you see is perverted by Ishvara. In fact, the law itself is Ishvara. Nobody sees the law of gravitation, but when you see falling objects and the regularity of their behavior, you understand that there is a force which is not visible to you, though the effects are very visible. Any force whose effects are visible to you should be included as Ishvara.
The laws of Dharma are also expressions of the Lord. Because of the verse under consideration here, we have to go one step further. There are different types of laws. We have laws like the traffic laws, which are man-made and can therefore be different. The speed limit in Pennsylvania is 55 miles per hour, while on the Autobahn, an expressway is called Autobahn in Germany and German-speaking countries. Swamiji has written a footnote of this also. I thought only Sanskrit meanings. Autobahn in Germany, it is far higher. But then there is an order which is not man-made, and that is Ishvara. Gravitation is Ishvara, but more than that, there is an order on the basis of which a human being interacts with the world. When I have a faculty of choice, I can do a given thing. I need not do it, or I can do it differently. If I want to make money, I can earn it legitimately, or I can rob somebody. What exactly is the means to follow? There is a man-made law that says I should not rob, which conforms to the law of Ishvara. If there is something common, some common value structure that is identical for you and for me, and known to both of us without having to be taught, then that is a universal law. The fact that it is known inherently without being told is a very important element in this. If I have to be educated about a law or a principle, I will not call it universal. But if whether I am an Eskimo or a New Yorker or a Boston Brahmin, I know a given principle without ever being taught, that is a universal principle. If neither
the Harvardian nor the Eskimo likes me to stand on his toes, then I should know that there is certain order which as human beings we all commonly sense. That order is an intrinsic part of creation which we call dharma. And also the law of karma.
Which we call dharma and also the law of karma. Karma and dharma both are two sides of the same coin.
The law is connected to our will. Because we have a will, this capacity to choose, it has to be governed by some law, and that law is what we call dharma. If the choice I make is wrong, naturally I pay for it. The law of karma makes sure of it. If I keep my finger in the fire, it will definitely burn. It is only law. I cannot blame the fire. If I have never come across fire in my life, I can plead ignorance. But with reference to the universal values, we can never plead ignorance. We all have the common sense knowledge that we want to survive, that we do not want to be hurt, and so on. This common value structure is the fabric of dharma. It is like the other structures that we have. Our physical body is governed by a set of laws. Our physiological conditions are governed by another set, as are our psychological conditions. So too, the exercise of our free will is governed by some laws, and those laws are what we call the laws of dharma, which are part of creation. Therefore, dharma is Ishvara. This being so, when I am called upon to perform an action at a given time and place, there is something to be done which is appropriate and everything else is inappropriate. That action that is appropriate is Ishvara. It is Ishvara's creation. In the same way as how a square peg cannot go into a round hole, nothing else fits there. It is the law of Ishvara. If I find that only one course of action is appropriate in a given situation and no other, I can be sure that it is Ishvara. Therefore, the appropriate action, duty itself is Ishvara, and because it fits well with dharma, dharma is Ishvara.
So that is why it's a beautiful way to live. Like, put yourself in a situation where there is no choice. In every stage in your life, you put yourself in a situation where there is no choice. Then you are fully aligned with Ishvara.
Yes. Sometimes we will tell, because you have a choice only, you are asking all this question.
So, that way, it's a good way to live, so that you are always aligned with Ishvara. You don't have doubts. Yeah.
True.
Doing one's duty is worship to the Lord. As long as I think I am the agent of an action, the karta who enjoys a will.
That is what he says, no? This is basically what he means is, Yata pravritti bhutanam yena sarvam itam tadam swakarmana tam abhyarchya. That swakarmana tam abhyarchya is doing one's duty is worship to the Lord.
And not varnashrama dharma.
No, that is right. Because today it is not possible. That is why Swamiji said it's a very important verse, Gita. Swakarmana tam abhyarchya. Swamiji always says what is appropriate to the given situation with reference to the universal law without any bias. You should not bring other factors. You should be a simple human being, and everyone knows you should not stand on others' toes. Like you don't want others to stand on your toe. That much everyone is alert. You should not complicate it. You should make it very simple, and then what is appropriate to the given situation, you keep doing. Then it is worship to the Lord. It's simple. Yeah.
Doing one's duty is worship to the Lord. As long as I think I am the agent of an action, the karta who enjoys a will and has a variety of desires to fulfill, I have to completely relegate my likes and dislikes to the background and do what is obviously appropriate to the occasion. If the choice I make is the appropriate one, it is not really a choice at all, because what is called for is highly visible. When what is to be done is here,
Is done.
What is to be done is done. What choice did I make?
What choice do I make? What choice did I make? I did not have to choose what to do because it was decided by the circumstances. I use my choice only when I avoid what I tend to do. I want to do something else and I avoid using my choice, my free will to do it.
See, you just imagine, beautifully he is explaining free will. What he says is, what is to be done, you are doing. Suppose there is a tendency for you, you know what is to be done, but you want to do otherwise, then at that time you apply your free will.
Yes.
To not to do that, because you know very well what is to be done. So you apply your free will to bring back your mind from doing what you like, which is other than what is to be done, and do what is to be done. So freedom in action is, it can be abuse of free will, it can be proper use of free will, or it can be disuse of free will. You avoid this disuse of free will and abuse of free will and do what is proper. Then that is called freedom. That is what that is the exercise of freedom. Generally, we think what is exercise of freedom is doing whatever we want, whether what is done is done or not. Ulta, we always try to use our free will to do what we like rather than what we are supposed to do. He says that is also free will, no doubt. The free will to mistake is there, but there are consequences which you may not like. Whereas if you do what is to be done, you will be aligned with Ishvara. So the consequences always will be, even though you may not know, you have that Shraddha that will be, since I have done what is proper to be done in the given situation, the consequences will always take care of themselves. With Ishvara, because we are aligned with Ishvara. That is intelligent living. That's what Swamiji used to say. Yeah.
I want to do something else and I avoid using my choice, my free will to do it. Doing is the only choice there is with regard to duty. Or choice is used when two courses of action are open which are equally appropriate. Otherwise, what choice do I have? There is no choice at all except in avoiding what does not fit.
Like Swamiji used to say, that you can have coffee or tea. Both are equally appropriate and inappropriate. It doesn't matter. So there is some choice is there. Otherwise, where is the choice in your life? It is the only choice you have. You can have coffee or tea. That's all. Everywhere else, you have to do what you are supposed to do.
This is the only exercise of choice in doing my duty, and because there is no choice, this is Ishvara. Therefore, by doing my own karma, swakarma, what is appropriate at a given time and place, I am worshipping Ishvara. This is the Abhyarchana, which he says, Tam, this is Abhyarchana. The Lord speaks of when he says, Tam Abhyarchya. Who is that Ishvara? The one who is Sarvavyapi, all pervasive Sarvajna, all knowledge, and Sarva Shaktiman, Almighty is Ishvara. Here, the things that we normally identify with worship, like offering a flower, are not being called worship Archana, but conformity to all the various duties and dispositions that was mentioned in the earlier verses with reference to the 4 classes of people is called as Archana.
So the Sattva, all that, anything Sattva, if you stick to that and do, then it is called Archana. Yeah.
Or in modern times, it means all that has to be done by an individual at a given time, given the circumstances. Whenever I do exactly what is called for in a given situation, that is worshipping Ishvara, whenever I do what is appropriate, I connect myself to Ishvara. That is why there is so much joy and satisfaction in such actions. If I do what is inappropriate, neither I am happy nor is any other person who is involved. If there is happiness in performing the appropriate action, I must know that action is connecting me to Ishvara. The law of karma, the law of dharma and my action all become one and the same. There is a harmony here between the law of dharma and my actions, and that gives me a sense of peace because of a release from the hold of the raga dveshas. If I am doing this after day after day, what will happen to my likes and dislikes, raga dveshas? What hold can they have over me? They just fall apart. Only non-binding raga dveshas remain, which are beautiful because they make me a unique individual.
This is like you always say, Prashant always says he has to do his office jobs. So, and he's not able to satisfactorily do his puja and all that. So that's what this is what he says.
Yeah. Sense.
Your work is worship.
Depending on the circumstances, that is why what happens is that, see, when we don't have this Varnashrama Dharma, wherever we are in the circumstances, under the circumstances, whatever is appropriate to the given situation, if you do it wholeheartedly, that is puja.
Puja, that's all.
So even if you miss something by puja, perhaps by an half an hour, read news and you go to office and all that, there again, if you do it diligently, keeping all these things in view, then that is also Archana, that is part of the puja, that's all. That is how we have to look at this. No point in, because basically this is why he says, he himself, initially itself he told, he is going to dwell a lot about this particular, in the Bhashya class also he tells, this particular verse, I am going to dwell a lot, even more than what the Bhashyakara tradition has said. Because at that time they said for a particular thing, this was not so complicated, but today's world is so complicated. He said that is why that what is this Swakarmana Tam Abhyarchya? is doing what is appropriate to the given situation under the circumstances, without violating your Samanya Dharma and Vishesha Dharma, and without keeping yourself in a choiceless situation all the time, and using your freedom not to abuse, not to disuse, but to use appropriately. All those things we should keep in view. Then our life will be a smooth, in the sense, there will not be any conflict within. And the conflict-free mind itself is a Shuddhi Karnam, Antakarna Shuddhi. Then it will always be able to get back to the Shastra which tells me that you are Purna. So that is possible only when you have that conflict-free mind by aligning yourself with Ishvara, wherever you are, whatever you are. That's what he's trying. That is why he's dwelling so much on this. Yeah.
Once your likes and dislikes are non-binding, you have Antakarna Shuddhi and can therefore gain the knowledge that completely frees you from the karma. If a person
to be done karma frees you from to be done karma, Swamiji always used to say. The sense, we always feel the dukkha, the ayasam will be there. As you grow older, all these things will go. Once you have this proper attitude, you will nicely, smoothly. That is why Swamiji used to say, best way to grow old, gracefully old is sannyasa. That's one. This is understanding, basically. That is a way to grace. That's what all our elders have done. But all our elder generations have done it beautifully. They have grown old gracefully. Everyone was looking up to the old man. They were never disturb him. I've seen many people like, nobody will disturb him. Nobody will be happy with him. They will go and do namaskar. They will not draw him to marina and wherever you funny halls and all that, make him travel all the way and all that. Never. He will always be there in the village. People, they will come and never. That's why he was happy himself. That is how it should be. That is called growing old gracefully. Yeah.
If a person has understanding that performing of his duties is offspring of Ishvara, he gains success. Siddham Vindati Manavaha, first in terms of Antakarna Shuddhi, and finally he gains the Siddhi, that is moksha, which is knowledge, jnana.
Yeah, but in this particular case, in this particular verse, what he means is Siddhim Vindati Manavaha is Antakarna Shuddhi. In terms of your mind is ready. And of course, your mind is ready, then when the mind is ready, you must put the right things. In the sense, Jnanam, Shastra, Gita, Upanishad and all, and you will be able to absorb it like anything. Then you will get the moksha, like Siddhi. That is the other Siddhi. What we generally call Siddhi is Jnana Siddhi. Whereas this Siddhi is Siddhim Vindati Manavaha is first in terms of Antakarna Shuddhi, having lived a proper life. Yeah.
The important thing that is being conveyed here is that doing your duty with a proper attitude is worship of Ishvara. Generally, worship is considered to be specific action, physical, oral or mental. That restricted concept is negated here. These special karmas of ritual and prayer are considered worship because in them there is an obvious connection between Ishvara and the individual. The problem is that you think that afterwards there is no connection, which is not true. Ishvara is not only the cause but also the effect. The whole creation is Ishvara. When that is so, when are you going to be away from that Ishvara? Therefore, according to the Shastra, if you do any karma that is in conformity with Dharma, which itself is not separable from Ishvara, you are connected to Ishvara. This makes you a karma yogi, but only if you recognize Dharma as Ishvara. An atheist can be an ethical person but not necessarily a yogi, because being a karma yogi means recognizing Ishvara. There is no other type of karma yoga. There can be a purely secular ethical person. We see many people who have no religious belief but are above any blemish in their conduct. Then again, religious person can be ethical but not a yogi. If a karma is not performed for Antakarna Shuddhi, or if he does not recognize Dharma is Ishvara, he can only be a clean person who is free from conflicts. He is not a yogi.
So basically what he means is that there may be some people who are very much attached to a particular deity, and they may be attached to a temple. Regularly they will take care of all the activities that are involved and all that. But if he does not have that vision that Ishvara is the deity which he worships, is Ishvara, he is all knowledge, all Shakti, all power and all Dharma, And anything I do, once I go back from the temple to home or out into the society also, I have to follow dharma, what is appropriate to the given situation. Without that understanding, just temple worship cannot make him a yogi, cannot make him a karma yogi. Maybe a temple worshipper, perhaps, maybe very less chance in his life for make you do anything harm to others. But still, he will be a karmi only, not a yogi. He has to grow into it. Perhaps the deity which he worships will give him that buddhi to try to make him understand through a particular acharya or some grace by which he understands that all that is here is Ishvara. Once that understanding comes only, he becomes a yogi. Otherwise, he is only a simple devotee. Just taking care of a deity. That's it. That doesn't make him a yogi. That's what is making very fine difference. These things we don't understand. We think that, okay, as long as I am attached to a temple, retire ஆயிடுச்சு போய் ஏதாவது டெம்பிளில் கணக்கு எழுதினா நான் யோகி அப்படின்னு நினச்சிட்டு இருக்கோம். Which is not true. There should be some understanding. Without understanding, even bhakti does not work. Yeah.
There can be a purely secular ethical person. We see many people who have no religious belief.
He is not a yogi,
Therefore, it is clear that to be a karma yogi, one must necessarily recognize dharma as Ishvara, as it is presented here. Yatat pravritti bhutanam yena sarvamidam tatam swakarmana tamabhyarcha siddhim tam abhyarcha siddhim vindati manavaha.
The whole verse he is telling here.
From whom is the creation of all beings, by whom all this is pervaded. By worshipping through one's duty, one gains success. One's own duty, one gains success. In order to worship the Ishvara, you do not need to do a particular karma, even though it brings about a conversion of an occasional devotee into an abiding devotee. But this special karma alone is not worship. Every time you conform to dharma,
recognizing dharma, but this special karma alone is not worship. Every time you conform to dharma, recognizing dharma as Ishvara, there is worship. Performing this worship, a person gains success, siddhi, in terms of antakarana shuddhi, and therefore qualification for the knowledge of Atma, which is the success or fulfillment of a human life.
In the context of the description of the duties of the Varnas, these are the karmas that are to be done, but all the prescribed duties of the 4 Varnas have to be performed with the right attitude. Without that, the performing of duty does not become yoga. It can only lead to heaven, Swarga. Therefore, verse 47,
Shreya swadharmo vigunaha
Doing one more
swadharma swabhavaniyatam karma kurbannabnodi kilbisham.
doing one's own duty is better than the duty of another.
But that's what we are all doing. We are all doing only that.
Yeah, it is easy, no? It is easy to point out rather than introspect.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll stop here, man.
Stop.
We'll stop here. Swami.
Yeah, we can stop here. No problem. We'll start tomorrow.
Yeah.
Very, very good. Swamiji has really summarized nicely 18th chapter.
Yeah.
Gives you a overall picture of life. Cannot escape any, in the sense, the understanding is something, no, which you cannot, which you can never escape from. I tell you, in life, you may do something, you may not do something, but understanding is very, very important. And the value for understanding, if one, even the children or adults, young adults, you must bring them, give them a value for understanding. Anything and everything, I only understand. What I understand only I will do. And that will be very appealing to youngsters. If only you are able to spend time with them and make them understand. Ask them to ask questions and make them understand. That will go a long way in their life. Because things are changing so fast. Unless you understand, you cannot have tailor-made solutions. If this is like this, do like this. If this is like this, do like this. That is okay. If that society is structured, the world is moving in a predictable manner. The world is moving in a very unpredictable manner, and the society is not structured. Only you must be able to understand that how is more important than what. How to think is more important than what to think. Very methodical understanding, ask the right question and understand, then no, whatever situation you are facing in life, you will be able to, and they will definitely later in life they will feel. See, I had
Yes,
real
yes.
nice bringing up. I was brought up nicely. I was able to ask how to think and was made. So in any situation, I am able to respond properly. Like that, they will feel very grateful to the elder generation. That is what we are. It's important.
पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरि ओम